What is good, everybody? So the Los Angeles Clippers, well, their summer league team faced against the Memphis Grizzlies summer league. So the Clippers managed to find some young players in action, and let's just say it was pretty satisfying to see. Like, pretty excited to see all the young guys play. Of course, Brandon Boston Jr. play. He did pretty amazing. Scrub, Boston, and Diabate. And the Clippers did not disappoint whatsoever. Like, the Grizzlies played hard, but our talent was just there. It is our first game, and the Grizzlies did manage to play some games prior, so probably their energy was like a little worn down. So let's give the Grizzlies like a little benefit of doubt. And the Clippers did not play any top prospect, but we did play a pretty intriguing prospect named Kenneth Lofton Jr., who is a pretty like unique big because like he's like tall as a power forward, but he's a big body frame. He's like more like built like an NFL player, but he's a pretty good bulldozer, pretty strong, could get to the basket. He could just do his thing. Pretty solid dude. Shout out to the Grizzlies. They got a solid future. My bad. I'm kind of like have a little common cold right now, so kind of have a little I'll let you say it. My throat just kind of sounds a little sticky bit, so forgive me for that. But anyways, let's go player by player. So Brandon Boston Jr. He went 50% from the field goal. Typical Brandon Boston Jr. We're not surprised he dropped 15 points. He got the buckets. Of course, he played defense. His playmaking upside was showing some signs as well too. He's just pretty smooth, and he started off the game with a beautiful bank shot. Just go boom. Oh, also shout out to the homie Clip Game No Bang. He said he was telling me he was at the summer league game, so cannot wait to check his vlogs out. It's gonna be pretty fire. But yeah, Brandon Boston Jr. He shows he reminds us why we should not trade this guy no matter what. Any so-called Clippers fans who want to trade Brandon Boston Jr. for like a proven piece or a third star is not a real Clippers fan. So let's just get that out the way. I'm just messing around, but that was just me being a little exaggerated. But for real though, we're not trading Brandon Boston Jr. no matter what, even if it's for Kyrie or Kevin Durant or all that BS. Cause no, like I'm glad the Clippers got John Wall because he seems to be a pretty good mentorship for the locker room. Like now I'm getting a little off topic, but John Wall, he actually had some good interviews during that game, and he said he worked out with the young guys a lot, so that is pretty beautiful already. That like the person who just came to the team, been an electrifying point guard that that kind of got hurt, but now already just trying to figure the team out, especially like the guy who wants to look at the young guys. That is pretty good to hear. That John Wall is willing to be a good team player. Like he sounds to be a pretty good team player. Just he's the type who just wants to help the Clippers win. And glad we got John Wall. Like we got him for free instead of doing all that BS trade for a third star BS. Like glad we went for John Wall. But anyways, Jason Preston, the guy that a lot of Clippers fans been wanting to see. Like me personally, Preston showed a lot of promise. Like even though anybody who rocked with this channel a year ago, a year prior, I was not satisfied with the Preston pick. I wanted this guy from around the Atlanta area, Sharif Cooper. He would have been a beautiful team chemistry with Brandon Boston Jr. Like Cooper is kind of like Preston, but more upsides. Like he's more of a bucket getter, but at the same time he does have more weakness. But Preston in this game, his stat line does not look too impressive. But if you actually watch how he plays, he was actually pretty good. He actually played pretty good defense too. Like he actually played 94 feet. Was like he was going up on the Grizzlies player. I'm just playing that defense. He does have the ideal size, so which kind of made the Clippers want to get Jason Preston. His playmaking was pretty smart. He's like a refined point guard that that just gets the job done. And who knows, down the line after Kawhi PG retires, Preston could be a pretty solid point guard. Like Preston gives off the vibes that he could either be a starter or a bench. Like let me know what you think though. Like you think Preston's gonna be a starter, like after everyone gets old, like he's gonna be a permanent starter for the Los Angeles Clippers. Me, he could be the starter, but at the same time, he could be the bench for because hey, just a little side note. I'm gonna keep throwing a lot of side notes in these videos, but 2023, man, there's a lot of really good point guards, and I just don't see Preston starting over these 2023 point guards in the NBA draft because next year draft class is just pretty stacked. So hopefully we take our franchise point guard because it is a pretty stacked draft class. Let's just say that. But hey, Preston played pretty good defense, pretty good IQ, and his shooting is actually pretty solid too. 3-point shooting is pretty smooth. But yeah, like his handles, like it's like deceivingly good. Like he doesn't have the Kyrie between the legs type dribble, but it is like good enough that you cannot just rip it out his hands. So that's some pretty good flashes. Preston did manage to get 2 blocks, which is again Preston like pretty impressive that he plays pretty good defense. Like if you just look at Preston like his build, you won't see him as like he's a lockdown defender. Like not saying that he looks like a bad defender, but he's solid. But his defense, it's up there. It's up there. Like, let me know what type of NBA comparison, what you think about Jason Preston, because if I had to think of comparison, that's a really tough comparison to think of, like, because he's like a traditional point guard that gets the job done. He can shoot, play the defense, just nothing too shabby. Kind of like, he gives off like kind of like a Rajon Rondo type because both like kind of have the size. Actually, nah, Rondo's like only 6'1", but that's an interesting comparison. I know my homie Clip Game Don't Bang gave like a Rod Strickland comparison. Well, the thing is, I did not see 80s and 90s basketball, so I don't know too much what to think, but he is a refined point guard that could dime pretty well. A lot of people said he's like a shorter, a mini LaMelo Ball, which is, I mean, hey, both are really good playmakers. So that's one option, I guess. But let's just go into another player. So now my man Jay Scrubb. Now Jay Scrubb, he was more on a quiet side tonight. He went like 4 for 11 and 1 for 4 from 3. So styling on the offensive end was not like the prettiest, but he seemed to have pretty good IQ as well too. He cut to the basket when he would need to, like especially that one play with Xavier Moon, like when Scrub looked like he was about to take a shot, but then he just passed to Xavier Moon and Scrub just like literally just slashed all the way to the basket and he got a wide open lay. So he has like the textbook of being a pretty good rope player, so he knows how to get to his spots to a certain extent. But I just wish that the Clippers could have, well, like that Preston could have just fed the ball more to Jay Scrub a bit because we all know Scrub's the type of guy that would want the ball in his hand in order to show that he's pretty effective. My bad. But compared to other players, like some players they don't need the ball in his hand, but Scrub is one of the guys that would want to have the ball in his hands, and if he gets the ball in his hands, he would show his upsides. But tonight, he was not bad. Like his defense was actually pretty good. Like I remember he would definitely got some key steals and he would keep the momentum going for the Clippers. But he was not a star player tonight. But I'm pretty confident that he will be a star player in the next few games because we all know real ones knows how good Jay Scrub is when he's at his peak. Cause when Jay Scrub's at his peak, ooh, he's tough. He's tough. But yeah, Scrub was kind of a little rusty. He did shoot 1 for 4 from three and 4 for 11, which is again if you look at his stats line, ooh, it looks bad. But when you actually watch the game, I mean, yeah, he had some air balls, but at the same time though, he played pretty smart. He played pretty smart, and also he didn't turn over the ball at all. So that is a pretty good improvement because we all know Scrub at times he had some turnover prone issues when he played garbage time minutes, but that's one good improvement by Scrub. So he had pretty good defense and his IQ definitely got better. But hopefully he needs to get jiggy with it. He needs to get jiggy with it. He needs to get some confidence. Just fire some shots and then he will be a walking bucket. Now, um, I, honestly, I forgot some of the player's name. I think something like Brand or something like that. My memory's pretty fogged up right now, so my bad. But he was pretty solid as well too. Dropped 15 points. Um, he just did his thing. Again, there's some new players that I kind of forget, so my apologies. But now let's say for the best for the last. Moussa Diabate. Oh my goodness. When he entered the game, he was already the culture fit for the Los Angeles Clippers. He's the energy bunny. Um, he definitely contributes all aspects of basketball. Um, Seemed to be a pretty good teammate. Played really good defense. He definitely knows his role. Like Diabate, man. That man is so versatile. Versatility is one of the biggest key of being a Clipper, and oh my goodness, he was amazing. Like, I know a lot of Clippers fans in them. Clippers fans, a decent amount of them welcome him with open arms. Some people did not like him because, I guess, his college style line didn't look too pretty, and they probably wanted some old, refined college players, which is the type of players that I do not like whatsoever. I'd rather just go for the young, higher upside players. And my initial reaction to Diabate was like I was cool with Diabate, but the thing is, there's some players who I wanted the Clippers to take over Diabate, and that was a Nazoza, or the Clippers could also trade for EJ Little, or just did some more damage in the draft class. But I always kind of had a liking towards Diabate game, but it was just I wanted Nazoza, which is Nazoza, by the way, he's a drafting stash for the Wizards, so I don't know what the Wizards are doing. If I were the Wizards, I would have tried harder for Nazoza to play for the Wizards because that guy has high upsides. But anyways, that's the Wizards' problem. But yeah, there are guys like John Butler and Dominic Barlow who I wanted over Diabate, but Diabate he's shown his worth. He's showing on why the Clippers selected him because he has the French chemistry with Nick Batum as well too. So like I said, they want to do a little play, make a basketball play. They could just speak in French, and then the opponents will not know what the heck they're saying, and then bam, like. But anyways, Diabate, man, again, his stat line does not look impressive whatsoever. But if you actually watch the game, he was the energy plug because he started off with a beautiful block. He caught a body, and his post moves were pretty nice as well too. And he guarded the perimeter pretty well too. His player comparison is so interesting. Um, some say he's like a mini Kevin Garnett, which is like I could kind of see that with his post moves, but hmm, like that's a really interesting comparison. Like my personal comparison for him was like back in back in when I was kind of like scouting him a little bit. It was like a Jonathan Isaac because both are 6'10" and all that. Like 6'10" wing, plays the defense, really long, really versatile, but pretty solid player overall. Like I believe that Tyronn Lue should definitely give this guy some minutes. Like that is one thing I would just love Tyronn Lue to just simply do. Just play the young guys a lot of the minutes. Like the Clippers, our power forward is pretty old. Like Roko's over 30, Batum is in his 30-ish, like over 30 for sure. Morris, he's kind of like a tweener, so it depends if you want to put him as a small forward or whatever. But anyways, our power forward depth is not too big, so I believe Tyronn Lue should definitely be more than happy to give this guy some minute. And heck, Diabate might be considered as a center, but hey, we also got Moses Brown too, which is a pretty good option and pretty good shot blocker, but that's probably another video. But Diabate, man, like I could see him like be so perfect in the quote unquote small ball because like we don't have to really go small anymore because Diabate actually has the size and he could guard the outside. Like instead of just having to settle as Rocco as a center or Morris as a center just to keep the offense going because we don't need to do that anymore because Diabate could essentially do what Rocco does, but at the same time be the actual big man. And heck, maybe he could play them together and Clippers would just get a lot of rebounds and a lot of energy. But this was a beautiful game overall. Like, and also other players like Xavier Moon, he showed a lot of hustle. His playmaking was pretty good as well too. Um, the other players didn't not make too much of an impact that I I can remember. But at the same time, like it's kind of just me just trying to get familiar with the other players' names because I don't really know the undrafted players' names too well. But I would definitely keep an eye out for sure. But now let's talk about the Grizzlies a little bit. So Kennedy Chandler, their point guard, had an off game. Like he was just kind of like more on a rustier side. He went like 2 for 11, which is like everyone has their bad games. Um, Kenny Chandler, it was one of the players that some Clippers fans wanted to take over Diabate, but he was already taken before the Clippers. But I'm not big on the Clippers taking a point guard in 2022, just solely because like next year point guard is just a lot better, and plus you don't want to clash minutes with Jason Preston. Like you don't want to unintentionally cause a log jam. Because let's just say we dropped a Kenny Chandler, he would have been kind of like the same type of player of Jason Preston, like unproven. Um, the upside's not too sky high, but I mean, like it's whatever. But honestly, I'm just glad the Clippers took a power forward slash center, not a small forward or even a point guard. But other than that, the Grizzlies players, they did what they could. Zaire Williams, he also had an off night as well too. Kenneth Lofton, he was pretty solid. He got some wide open dunks. He was an ultimate bulldozer. He definitely has the good work ethic. And Kenneth Lofton, he could definitely be a pretty successful name in the NBA eventually. But hey, let me know what you think about the beautiful summer league, everybody. But Moose, man, let the Moose loose. But yeah, like I said, leave a comment down below. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll definitely chat with y'all in the comment section. And as y'all know, peace.